Thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much to our guests. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. Thank you very much. I'll introduce you in a moment, but first of all, I would like to introduce our Deputy Director, Dr. Pedro Cunha, okay, who'll say a few words, and I'll give him the floor, okay? Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you all. Thank you very much for coming. I believe that our work today is mainly about myth on communicating science. And the first myth we have to fight is that in Portugal is always sunny. As you can see, that's not the case. So I think it's a good start for your work, because most of the times when we want to communicate about science and technology, we have to fight a lot of myth. And we have to have that really present in our lives so that we can be effective in our work. Let me give you a very small explanation about where you are. This is the General Directorate for Education. Oversimplifying, we could say that this is the house of the curriculum. This is the software machine of the Ministry of Education and Science. We deal with contents, either on syllabus and programs and curriculum, either on guidelines for transversal issues and themes, such as ICT, citizenship education, etc., etc. Of course, we have other duties. I will not tire you with all the duties we have to do, but mainly this is the house where we care about what happens inside classrooms, and specifically what is the content, what is the software that the big machine of the Ministry of Education and Science has to run on a daily basis in all schools in Portugal. Well, coming to the theme, science, technology, engineering, and technology, as I said, and mathematics, we have been doing a very long job in terms of fostering the interest of our children and our youth in these areas. We have been pursuing these areas since a long time in a very, very systematic way. Let me give you a couple of examples of that. The first of all, and for me the most important of all, is we have been reviewing our curricula, we have been reviewing our syllabus, we have been reviewing our learning outcomes. And how have we been doing that? First of all, we have been focusing them on experiential investigation, also on the socioeconomic and technological aspects of science. You know that when we talk about curriculum, there's always some tensions there. The first tension is that all curriculum have to be, in one hand, relevant to the child, relevant to the school, relevant to the society, relevant to the economy, and in itself, this is already a tension. But at the same time, it has to be universal. It has to be useful in different settings. It has to be useful in different times. It has to be useful in different jobs. It has to be useful in different countries. So when we revisit our learning outcomes, when we revisit our curriculum, this is one of the first tensions that we have to balance. The second one is that curriculum should be flexible, should be adaptable, but at the same time, it has to be demanding. It has to be something that motivates people to exceed themselves. So again, there's another tension there. And thirdly, curriculums, they have to be economic. Not in terms of the economy, but in terms of being pragmatic, in terms of having the essential aspects of knowledge. But at the same time, they have to be comprehensive. Everybody wants everything to be within the curriculum. You know that if you work with education, everybody wants everything to be in the curriculum. So you see, coming back to sciences and technology and math and engineering, when we look at what we do with children in the classroom, we always have to have in our minds that this is a very difficult job to do, because we will never please everybody when it comes to what to teach to these children and how to teach these children inside the classroom and outside the classroom. I'm highlighting this because this is a very, very sensitive issue, and I think that our work with this platform, that I hope it will be very useful, has to have this in presence, that we cannot demand everything for a classroom or for a school. As a society, I'm talking as a society. Well, another example coming on is the European Olympics or Olympiads of science, we have been a long participant and a very successful participant in European Olympiads, in a strong partnership with the physics, biology, chemistry, scientific societies in Portugal. We have won several awards, and it's a very popular contest in Portugal, as in Europe. Another example are the Living Science Agency. One of the representatives is here today. Thank you very much for coming. Well, the Living Science Agency supports the experimental teaching of sciences in our classrooms, in our schools, and it's a very well-succeeded agency as well. Also, we have a partnership with the Youth Foundation, which is, they run a very popular competition of young scientists in Portugal and investigators. Then we have thousands of science clubs that are supported by the Ministry of Education and Science. We also have partnerships with companies. For instance, the Vodafone company, we have a project with them called Mobile Lab Pilot Project, where children and youth, they experiment math and physics applied to the telecommunications sector, which is, as you know, highly attractive to youth. Next year, we will participate on the e-skills contests promoting the ICTs. And also we have a national flagship initiative called The World in School. I left this to the end because I want to tell you a little bit about this. This is a Portuguese experience. And this is mainly about bringing professionals from different areas of knowledge, and including also sciences. We started with the sciences. And that's not by hazard. Bringing professionals that are well succeeded in their professions in order to encourage students to look at science in another way. Of course, teachers in schools, they do provide a view on sciences, but there are more views. And our challenge is to bring to schools, to bring to the classrooms all views about science. The view of the investigation, the view of academics, the view of researchers, the view of companies, the view of industries. That's all about science and technology. Well, I have to tell you that with a great pleasure, I can announce you, maybe you know this already, that Portugal is a very good example in terms of the attractiveness of STEM. We have a very good demand in terms of secondary education courses and also higher education courses. Our children and youth, they do like sciences and technologies. They do look for professions that are attached to science, technologies, and math. We do have it. I cannot explain you why. I think you would like to know it. I cannot tell you why. But I think this partnership can help us understanding why that's the case. We do have a high demand on these areas. But that's not enough. That's why we are highly interested in this partnership with you. That's not enough. And the reason is that we know that our youth that are today in our secondary education schools or either in our universities, we know that they will have at least, in average, at least 11 to 15 different jobs during their life. And that's not a problem in itself. It's a challenge. It's an opportunity for us to adapt. Today, helping these youth is no longer about helping them making decisions about their careers. It's helping them preparing to transitions among their life. Transitions from job to job, from task to task, from role to role, from country to country, from employment to study, from study to employment, from employment to retirement, from retirement or out of work to in-work situation. So it's about transitions. It's no longer about decisions. So having this in mind, we can say that adaptation, flexibility, and transferability are key words in our education, specifically on secondary education and higher education. So how can we do that? How can we help our youth to adapt to different situations, to transfer the knowledge, and to transition in a very smooth way from different roles in their lives, as parents, as employees, as citizens, different roles they have to have. How can we do this? For us, or at least for me, the first keystone to do this is to equip them with solid knowledge. Solid knowledge is always valuable. Is the only value that they can transfer from one situation to another situation. Of course, this solid knowledge, to be transferable, it has to come from real-life situations. It has to be complementary. It has to include factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, metacognitive knowledge, procedure knowledge. It has to be diverse knowledge. And that's where the partnerships with the civil societies comes in. Schools cannot do it alone. There are parts of knowledge that they can only get from experiences in a real life situation. That's the only way we can equip them with transferable skills. So I think I've made my point about why do we need your cooperation and why we are highly compromised with the success of this project. This project is also about transferability, and adaptation. We have previous experiences such as in the Netherlands and in Denmark that we are highly interested in know about in order to create these national platforms. And I think these platforms, they also should be flexible as the curriculum, because the composition of the platform has to be very, very flexible. Otherwise, it will be outdated in less than 1 year. But also they have to be, at the same time, they have to be demanding in terms of the mandate they want to themselves. They also have to be relevant as the curriculum. This means that the inputs they give to schools and to the society, they have to be updated. But being relevant, again, they have to be economic also, because we cannot spend all our lives doing this. We have a specific job to do. But at the same time, being economic, they also have to cover all the dimensions of knowledge and of the system. So again, there's also a tension there. So I leave you with the tensions. I've done my job here. And I wish you all the luck with this national platform and with this partnership. I want to thank you, each one of you and you all, for your cooperation in these national platforms, and tell you that if students have to adapt, we have to adapt. So together we will do it, and as I said, thank you for helping us bringing the world to the classroom. Or rather, we could say, looking at the world as a classroom, as we did with the Greeks 2,000 years ago. Thank you.